Hey, Jeff Cohn here again with another episode of the Team Building Podcast where we interview top team leaders and broker owners from across the country. We have a great guest today coming to us from Arizona, Mr. Randy Courtney. He got into the business in 1986. I was born in 81, Randy. So you have a lot to share with us today. I'm super excited to hear about your journey. And I know off record, we were talking a little bit about kind of what got you to where you are now. Would love for you to share with the listeners so they have context, all of the different things that you've done leading up to this point.
You bet. Actually, when I got in the business, I started with Merrill Lynch Realty back when they had a division. I soon realized that I had to get with a company with top producers. There was a new company that came to town at that time. It was called Remax. And so I was with them for 16 years, helped build that brokerage. And from there, then I owned, I bought a home investor franchise, was We Buy Ugly Homes. We did that when I bought that. Remax fired me. I got my broker's license back in 95, so, I just went independent. And so we had the retail side and the discount buy side. So we had 100 billboards, TV, radio, buying hundreds of homes a year for about 4 years. Slightly before, about 6-8 months before the market imploded, I sold that franchise, had investors lined up for it.
Great
sold
timing.
For a premium. It was a blessing.
Yep.
But I did not want to own a home buying franchise on the way down. It's a lot tougher to predict where that number is. But then from there, about 3 years ago, I got a knock on the door from Weichert, and of course, largest corporate relocation company. It actually helped me build the team. I had about 8 agents. I've got 24 agents now, and our goal is to selectively go to about 35 to 40.
Okay, awesome.
So that's where we are. I'm still in the trenches every day, along with my agents, producing and just trying to get better. We're trying to provide true service and representation for our clients. That's where it all starts.
Awesome. So a lot of our audience members, as you probably know, are team leaders or broker owners themselves. And I think there's a lot of buzz right now about all of the disruptor companies that are coming into the industry or already are in the industry, especially in the bigger cities. As a broker owner going into the next decade, how are we going to continue to retain our top talent and provide the best value to the consumer?
Well, I think that everything's changed. When I got in the business, the MLS was in a phone book. And, of course, today, everything starts online. About a year ago, I met with the then CEO of Zillow, Spencer Raskoff, and that's where, their numbers were, hey, only 3% of us do more than 25 deals in a year. So that means, the level of professionalism, obviously, and the level of production per agent is just pathetically low. Like 6.8 deals in Phoenix metro market for the average agent. So, with that, and knowing that technology is really at the heart of exposing your listings properly and being a featured broker on all the different websites and paying their extortion fees. I mean, to get our own leads, we have to pay them every month to get our own leads. And when we are on the pulse and we have an ISA or someone there at the helm, when we get a live transfer or someone clicks that button, we're there answering that phone within a minute. And so that's the key is responding. But as far as team building, we are looking for agents that want our culture. They want to be held accountable. They want to be trained, and they want to, be in an environment where they have full access to me, to my transaction manager, to my trainer, recruiter, at any time. So a lot of our agents are with us because of, some of the leads that they get to assist their business and for the coaching and accountability.
I love what you're saying. I totally subscribe to that mindset. It's funny, when we're recruiting, if I have an agent ask me directly, what's your commission split? I say the same thing I say to a seller that asks me that question. I say, you're asking the wrong questions. You should be asking me, how much more money are you going to make and how less of time with how less of energy? And so culture, lead gen, accountability, goal setting, career visioning, all of that stuff. I think that's going to be required going in, to this next decade if we want to continue to grow.
Yep. Absolutely, and 100% of nothing is nothing. It's one of those things where if you really know, it's like when I made the switch to 100% shop, and I soon realized that I was still on a split because I still had monthly cost. And so when the agent prospect walks into the office and says, And the first question is, what is your split? It's like, well, so you're on page 10, I'm on page 1. So, we're gonna get there, but let me explain the value and the features that we bring to the table, all the tools that we have that will promote your business, to build your business within our business.
Yep. Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group that I run in Omaha, Nebraska went from 70 to over 700 real estate sites in 6 years. And I believe it was fully in part that our focus wasn't on finding rock star agents doing 50 plus deals, which every broker owner dreams about. I came up with the idea, flipped it upside down and said, what if we took that 6.7 deals a year agent, your average agent in the country, I think right now based on NAR, is like 7 deals, maybe 9 deals, depending on where you're located.
Maybe.
And I said, what if you took that agent that's making 18 grand to 30 grand a year and you just helped them double their sales in 12 months? And then you helped them do it again. And you provided them the vehicle that allowed them to make the income they needed to make to be able to live and lead the life of their dreams. And that's exactly what you're talking about. So let's get into a few things, Randy, as far as the culture is concerned, where you guys are. What are some of you talked about accountability and you talked about culture and lead generation. Go into depth a little bit more on that. First, let's start with culture. What are some of the things maybe that are outside of the box that you guys are doing right now to help with your company culture?
Well, what we do is we have ongoing training, weekly training. Our trainer, Jeanette, basically has a schedule for that. And so for the agents that actually, want to improve a certain skill as far as, open houses, lead gen, lead follow-up, door knocking, whatever it is, she's training on that. And the agents, no matter what stage of their career they are, some of our agents we've had for 12 years, and they're still coming back for the training. What we're trying to, we also have some mentorships, where a new agent can just kind of ride along and absorb and say, here's the system. You plug it in and you execute your calendar, and then you become accountable to that calendar. And then what we do is we have an accountability program that every week they report their numbers. And then we post the numbers for everybody to see. So all the team sees it.
Crazy idea, right?
But it's lacking in our industry. Accountability is pathetic. It's like, oh, you want to fog a mirror and you want to join our brokerage? Hey, come. And there's a little small monthly fee, and I'll get thousands of agents, and I'll work this. But what we're after is an agent that actually steps up and says, okay, I understand I'm an independent contractor, but I want to produce, and I need that guidance, and I need the training, and I need that accountability to kick me in the pants and say, get out of bed, get dressed, get ready, and get going.
Randy, I couldn't have prepped you more for the podcast. Anyone listening that follows our podcast believes in everything you're talking about. And, I got into the business in 2006. I got my license, and I was shocked as I went around and interviewed brokerages how little of training they provided. And if there was any training, it was how do you fill out a purchase agreement? I believe true leaders serve their followers by teaching them how to be just like them. I never had a broker say, hey, Jeff, you should start a team. And then, hey, Jeff, this is how you start a team. And then, hey, Jeff, eventually you should stop selling altogether and become a broker and then expand into other markets. Like nobody that I met had that thought leadership. I read a lot of Gary Keller's content. And I love Gary on the front of the MREA book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. He said, it's not about the money. It's about being the best that we can be. And so often we pour into our agents, not to help them make money per se, but help them be the best versions of themselves. And everything you're doing is directly in line with what I believe. So going into the next decade, you're doing the training, and that's part of your culture. And I love everything you said to that. I have a fear that the virtual agent is going to continue to want to have space in the real estate industry, meaning they don't have to physically go to the office every day. They don't have to physically be held accountable in a face-to-face meeting. They could do it virtually. What are some of the things that your brokerage offers, maybe from a virtual standpoint, so that they don't have to physically be present every day, especially in Scottsdale, where you might have to drive 45 minutes to get to your office? Yeah,
true. And we've tried to hire agents all across the valley just because it is a 50-mile radius, 29-city conglomeration of 7.2 million people.
Yeah, exactly.
There were like 900,000 people when I got in the business. But I think to answer that, this device here is basically the office. When I started, we didn't have these. We had, I think, pagers maybe. But
And for anyone listening, he's holding up his iPhone. For anyone listening and doesn't see us.
Yes.
It's the iPhone, man. It's amazing. At Thanksgiving, we went around the table and we said, each person said what they're grateful for. And of course, everyone was saying the things you'd imagine. I held up my phone and said, I'm grateful for my cell phone. It's amazing. I can be anywhere in the world and run all my businesses. I can track my workouts. I can meditate. I can listen to music. I mean, it's incredible. So I love that answer. One of the things we've done a couple years ago, we put a studio in our office as a little shameless plug to anyone listening, for $97 a month. An individual agent can be a fly on the wall in our office and access 8 hours of training content a month. And then a team leader can plug all of their agents into that agent training product. So our agents can attend live. They can interact with the trainer anywhere in the world and or watch all the recordings. And we have about 108 hours of agent training in our database and over 50 hours. So I would suggest to anyone listening, anything worth saying, you only should have to say once, because you should record it and then you can just hand it off to somebody else and let them watch it. It's a great way to onboard agents, but then it's a great value add. If you already have a training process in place, it's not hard to live stream it onto Facebook and then have all of those recordings kept in Facebook or Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever works best for you.
Yeah, that's great. I think like we're conducting an office meeting right now, and it's basically live. Our agents, if we try to get them together on a face-to-face, we try to do one face-to-face every month. But to draw them in from all parts of the valley, it's like herding cats. It's just where they can log on and we are on the same agenda, and they see the video. It's like we're sitting right in front of it, like our office, our meeting right now.
Yep.
It's the age of technology is that now we have some agents. They need that environment, and we've created some space where they'll come in and they'll have their own space. But with the structure today is like you're meeting your clients at the title company, at the house, if you're listing their house, if you're showing their house. I mean, you have all these opportunities of where you can meet, of places that the virtual office, the office, the big brick and mortars, I think will go away. More and more offices will go virtual. I think that's just the sign of the times.
For anyone listening, I am 100% in agreement. I think you have to have a hybrid option. Obviously, the retail space has proven this. How long ago did all the retail spaces create an online presence so you could buy product online if you wanted to and return things for free if you wanted to? The consumer is going to demand it. The agent is going to demand it. So if you're not already doing it and you think the whole world is going to exist in your office, you are wrong. You need to have an option. Right. But I love the option. You talk EXP philosophy where most of it's virtual. I like the mindset of having a hybrid option. So you do have a brick and mortar, but maybe you condense it to just 20% of the normal square footage you maybe would have had 20 years ago or 15 years ago.
Yep.
And then you give everyone that virtual option. And like you said, we're on a Zoom call right now. Zoom is super simple. You push a button, you get on a call. It feels like I'm in your room, other than I can't go take your Arizona State banner behind you and throw it on the ground. But I get to see it. It's right there behind your shoulder. Yeah, right?
Go Devils.
So, exactly. Well, Randy, hey, real quick, and I don't do this often, but I want to wrap up because you've been in the business so long. What is a unique situation you found yourself in your tenure in real estate? Have you ever walked in on something you didn't want to walk in on, or discover a body in a house? You got any fun stories?
I had a buyer, that came in, and he was transferring in, and I had a seller. And of course, the seller was saying, in Arizona, of course, possession happens when the deed is recorded at the day of closing, right? So the seller is supposed to be ready and have that property broom swept and vacated. And of course, we have an agent that's doing, 3 deals in 3 years and, doesn't really educate her seller. And the moving truck shows up. They open the garage and they're moving stuff. It's packed and there's stuff in the house. And my buyer is confronting the seller, and in fact I see this escalating. I jump in the middle to stop a fist fight.
Come on.
You do what you have to do. So I calmed them down and said, look, guys, okay, so This is not going to, change. We have to deal with this. We can't deal with it with the cops showing up, okay? So, you guys move in the front door. You guys continue moving out the garage, and let's see if we can dance around each other.
No,
and you two, homeowner and buyer, stay away from each other. That's
right. Well, I think a lot of people listening can probably identify.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I will tell you one thing too. After 33 years, I had one seller that was out of country, and he told us, "Look, we have to have this house vacated. There's this furniture and junk and stuff like that left." And of course, we coordinated everything. Said, "Good, let's get it done." And then the movers showed up 3 days early, which they were supposed to show up the day before closing. And then the family that was here local shows up with their movers to get their stuff. And it's like, where's our stuff?
Oh, no.
That's why you carry an umbrella policy.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, hey, for anyone listening, thank you so much for following this podcast. Be sure to go out onto iTunes and give us a 5-star review, and give a shout out to Randy for giving us his time this morning. I know he's missing a part of his office meeting for this, and I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
You bet, Jeff.
Also,
thanks for
just
having
as a
me.
reminder, we host – absolutely. This was great. We host a team building workshop and an investment workshop every other month in Omaha. So for anyone listening, if you want more information about those upcoming workshop dates, we have one at the end of January and one at the end of March. You can find all of that and more information about coaching at eliterealestatesystems.com. Randy, have a great day today. Go crush that office meeting.
When you get tired of that cold in Omaha, come out to Arizona. We are here.
I'm there.
Let's go golf
right now. I'm on a plane. I'm on a plane.
Sounds good, Jeff.
Horrible,
thank you.
Man. I appreciate it. Thank you, Randy.
Yep.
All right.
You bet. Anytime, bud. Okay.
Bye-bye.